In our video about people who survived snake attacks, you were pretty surprised, weren't you? They were like, how is it possible for someone to survive being attacked by one of these snakes? Well, there are other people who also survived deadly attacks from super dangerous snakes, people who saw their lives go away but had one more chance to live, people who were almost ripped off their arm, their face, even one that was swallowed alive and survived. Stay until the end of the video and be surprised by these amazing human beings who survived the impossible. Let's go! Python almost rips its face off. Pythons invaded America with killer tendencies, with an appetite that keeps growing, which proves to us that no one is safe from them, so experts have done everything to capture them and put them in their natural habitat, or in places that they can't make victims. It's just that on one of his python hunts, Steve Messick's was surprised because he was attacked this time. Yeah, a monster python from Florida attacked Steve with a boat right in the face. The very experienced python wanted to incapacitate her prey, to then swallow him, so she sank her teeth into his nose and started to suffocate him, completely making it impossible for him to breathe. Steve saw his whole life passing through his eyes. He thought that was the end of him, but Steve's assistant, realizing the situation, immediately went to ask for help. It's not that Steve's wife arrives to help him, just that they stayed there thinking of some way to save Steve, but Steve, seeing his life being sucked by the monstrous python, decided to start fighting for his life, so he started trying to get the snake out of his face, and he succeeded. Only the snake changed from his face to his hand. Yeah, it sank its teeth into his fingers, and continued squeezing his body. Then Steve's wife had the idea of pouring cold juice into the snake's mouth and moving its tongue, so the snake would feel uncomfortable with the ice cream and the juice and the different flavor and would let go. And that was what happened, and so the wife saved Steve from that killer python. Well, Steve was all red, if you know what I mean, but luckily he was alive. Anaconda nearly kills a man. Can you imagine going out fishing on a relaxing sunny day and out of nowhere almost being killed by an anaconda? For those who don't know, anaconda is one of the largest snakes in the world, some reaching up to 12 meters, so you must imagine how big this snake is, right? Well, they usually live at the bottom of rivers, coming out just to feed and go for a walk, of course. Interesting fact is that she only attacks if you go there to provoke. You must be wondering how she almost killed a man if she only attacks when it is proven. Wait, you already understand. In Brazil, a fisherman went out to fish on a calm and beautiful day, and it's not that when he was fishing he steps on something in the water. He didn't know what it was until an anaconda of 6 meters, because it is 6 meters, starts to wrap itself around his body, squeezing and squeezing even more, until she reached the top and lunged at the man's neck, pressing his throat, making him have difficulty breathing. And by the size of this snake you can imagine how strong your bite is, right? Continuing, the snake, even though it was squeezing him, having sunk its teeth into his throat, tries to pull him into the water and drown him. It looked like the snake was really angry, right? But with a lot of luck the man managed to start choking the snake too, until he managed to get out of the water, and the fight with the giant snake went to land. Only that a farmer passed by. Seeing what was happening, he took a sharp object and ran to save that man. So said, he arrived and cut off the snake's head. Well, he says it was the only way he saw at the time, and he thought well. So much so that he saved the life of a man who he was immediately taken to the hospital, where he was hospitalized for 3 weeks. But today he is fine, with the scars on his neck, but well and famous in the neighborhood, as he was the man who survived the attack of a giant anaconda. Anaconda attacks again. Did you think he was the only man who survived an anaconda? No. Still in Brazil, we know the story of Didi, another fisherman who went out to fish, but he went out with his family, wife and daughter. What was supposed to be a calm day of fishing turned into a terror, because a giant anaconda of nothing went towards their canoe, without any explanation. The fisherman's daughter was the first to see the snake, so she immediately jumped into the water with the intention of running away. When the father turned to see which snake it was already late. The snake immediately lunged at his arm and started to wrap itself around him. In a panic, the wife started to try to make the snake release her husband, but the snake didn't let go and kept its teeth in Dee Dee's arm, so she ran right away and went look for help. When she came back, Dee Dee was already unconscious, so one of the neighbors she had called ran and gave 3 blows to the snake's head. And they took Dee Dee to land and tried to make him wake up until he woke up, but screaming a lot for the pain caused by the bite of the killer snake. But the fact is that he survived and became famous too, as it's not every day that someone is attacked by a giant snake. Poison Man. How so, Poison Man? Is it a man who has a poison that kills snakes, and is that why he survives? Well, no, calm down, I'll explain everything. Tim Fried is an American who in his youth discovered that he is immune to snake venom. Because he is immune, any snake can bite him and he will survive without any problem. Since then, Tim became famous and began to be called a man. Venom. He started posting videos on YouTube, making super venomous snakes sting him and inject his venom into him. He lets the venom react and nothing just happens to him. As for example, in this video he is bitten by a black mamba, the fastest snake in the world and the most venomous in Africa. Capable of killing 20 to 40 humans in a single injection of its venom. And on the other side, it is bitten by the Pyton, the most venomous snake in the whole world, with a venom that can kill up to 100 humans at once. He lets the venom react, and he just survives. Amazing, right? His blood is already being studied at a college in the United States of America, where they believe that what's inside Tim's blood can produce a vaccine that can make us all immune to snake attacks. Hopefully they get something. But though she might be a hero to us one day, Tim became dependent on snake venom, and he himself injected few dozens into himself every day for almost 18 years, which made him lose his family, wife and son, who began to be afraid of them being bitten by a snake over there and consequently not survive like Tim. Swallowed per an anaconda. Swallowed? Well, it is swallowed, or rather almost swallowed, because in a documentary called Eat Alive by Discovery Channel, Paul Rezzoli was almost swallowed by a green anaconda, the biggest and strongest snake on Earth. The documentary aimed to show what it would be like to be attacked by an anaconda, but things got out of control, because Paul was dressed in his own clothes for that. The costume came with a microphone and cameras that were to see how it would be in the first person, right? The snake attacked him and started to wrap itself around him, squeezing and squeezing, and Paul notified everything that happened and how it happened, only he stopped fighting the snake, and she thought it was time to swallow the prey, so she started with the head to swallow until Paul stopped responding, and the whole production went there to help, because the snake had already passed his shoulders. My God, can you imagine his despair with his head already inside the snake? Fortunately, he was saved in time. Yeah, I think he won't be playing with snakes for a long time.